They got everything.
Lehigh Northampton.
Steve had a beard there.
Authority
He looked exactly.
Meeting for November, if everyone will please stand and face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Bev, would you please call the roll?
Paul Anthony, Ann Baum, Robert Brooks, Frank Fasciano,
I'm here.
Don Gottschall. Here. Ricky Gower.
Here.
Justin Grimshaw.
Here.
John Hayes.
Here.
James Irwin.
Here.
Kevin Lott.
Here.
Glenn Reedman.
Present.
Kevin Surfoss. Mike Stershik.
Here.
Jonathan Strauss. Chris Worley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Any public comment today?
Not at this time, sir.
There's no public comment. Members of the board, I will take a motion for approval of the minutes of October 28th, 2025. On, and second by John. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Reports. Turn it over to Frank.
All right, so we're going to have the treasurer's report. You're up, Todd.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. Always start off with the traffic. Again, we had a really good month of October, 13% versus last year. All right. And last year we had, for those that forget, we had Hurricane Milton, and that canceled about 22 flights. So that's part of the big reason of the variance from last year to this year. But overall, we're on course for our best total passenger count through 10 months, slightly ahead of 04. Comparing to all airports, and again, because of the shutdown, the last data we had was through September 20th. So our numbers have improved a lot because of what I just said happened last year in October, because it's year over year. But we are 10.4 on our throughput, 5.6, which is, our throughput is ahead of all airports, and our seats are up from the last time we did it about 2 months ago. Right here, you can see versus our peers, you can see we moved ahead of Charleston, and we're at 10.4. You can see where we are, but versus the average, we're doing considerably better than that. Right there.
Todd, what do we have going on in terms of activity at the other airports that might impact us?
I'll defer that to Darren.
So, yeah, Allegiant, I don't know if you may have seen last week, there was an announcement from Allegiant that they are adding some service in Trenton, actually returning service to Trenton. They had been there in the past. They were there for about a 2-year period, 2016 to 18, and pulled out. So they're adding 3 destinations, St. Pete, Punta Gorda, and Fort Lauderdale. Wouldn't even call it necessarily new service to the airport though, because Frontier currently serves, they serve Tampa, they serve Fort Myers, and they serve Palm Beach, so kind of same locations. And then they also announced Philadelphia service from Allegiant. That's actually pretty similar to what they're doing in Newark, which they've been doing in Newark for several years now. So Newark is kind of their New York destination airport. Mm-hmm. So they've got service into Newark now from a lot of Midwestern cities, same thing they're doing in.
Okay, so those flights going into Philly, it's not Philly as a base.
No, it's not Philly. Neither one is a base. It's right now. There's literally three destinations into Philly from the Midwest. It's Des Moines, Grand Rapids, and Knoxville. I believe so. Not necessarily Midwest there, but no duplication of service in Philly, and some in Newark, but again, in Trenton, but on a very small scale.
So you're not envisioning this would have a material impact on us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've seen Allegiant service in the area before. Heritage had service for a very long time, and they've got really pretty good service, and we don't see any impact there. They've had it Wilkes-Barre in the past, and we didn't see any impact. So I don't think so. I mean, we don't really typically think of Trenton as necessarily a competitor. It's a bit of a peer airport, I guess, here, but
it's close enough.
It's about a 90-minute drive in between. So I guess the folks in the middle on there, maybe there's some overlap, but yeah, I don't expect that we'll see any material changes in our service or anything from Allegiant. I think we'll continue to be a good airport for Legion, with the base and the commitment they've made here. And they're about to celebrate their 20th anniversary here in a couple of weeks. So, that's the longest they've been on the East Coast is about 20 years. So I think we're still in a good spot there.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Again, here, month of October, we had a good month. Up a little bit from last year. You can see what's going on here. Again, and I mentioned this yesterday in our meeting, a big part of our variance, positive variance that we've had so far this year is really on the revenue side. That's really what we're going to need to kind of move forward. We do our best to manage the expenses, but the revenue is truly the key to any of these positive variances. And you can see that revenue is up versus budget 8%, but expenses were down too. So there's your big variance right there. That's propelling that positive variance for the month. And we always talk about that -6, -7 that we were kind of aiming for. But again, if you look above, the net revenues are up 6 versus budget. That -6, -7 was assuming that we would come in at budget. But considering we're coming in above budget on the net revenue, we're actually have a bigger variance than we predicted earlier, which is a good thing. And you can see where we are year to date without CARES, 2.8, which is very similar to where we were last year around the same time. You can see we've obviously spent a little bit more on depreciation. Our expenses are up. At the end of the day, the net number without CARES is up 2% from last year. And then looking at our cash, again, this is our new number for next year is up about 1.8%. These numbers have jumped, as we talked about yesterday, pretty significantly since the pandemic. I think we were down to 40 some at one point right after the pandemic, and now we're up to almost 78,000 in a few years. Some of that because of inflation, but some of that getting back to a normal level of business and some of the growth that we've experienced over the last few years. This is our projection, again, assuming budget for expenses and revenue. You can see we're going to be in a good position, 3.9, pretty significantly ahead of the number without CARES. Any questions? Again, we went in depth on this yesterday. I'm doing pretty good year to date. So,
Are there any questions? Can I get a motion to accept the report? Ricky and Mike. Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. John, Finance Committee?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Turn it right back over to Todd to review the 2026 operating budget.
thank you, John. Again, we went into a lot of depth on this yesterday, and this is kind of a quick recap. Really, these are the key things we focus on, our goals we talked about. Number one, we talked about as a separate slide yesterday, is everything starts and ends with our air service. That is the key. Nothing else matters. We don't have air service, and you can kind of focus on, managing resources, meeting our debt service. We talked about acceptable cash, which we talk about all the time around here, making sure we got cash to protect us in case there's another situation that we don't anticipate, because there's always something around the corner, and we want to make sure we're prepared as possible. This is really the highlights of the numbers there. We're at 178K net income. As I said yesterday, our goal is not to make as much profit as possible. We're trying to cover our expenses. We want to break even, and that's accomplishing that goal. Last year, without CARES, we were at a negative 1.5 million. And meeting our debt service coverage, one of those things we talked about on our goals. Last year, without CARES, it was 1.2. This year, we're at 1.49, and our minimum number is 1.25. Always put in there the snow, because that really can impact our budget, particularly early in the year. We have a really bad year that can really throw a monkey wrench in our budget, particularly early. This is just breaking down the summary of our employees. You can see that we have quite a bit of part-time employees. That's why I always focus on FTEs, which is full-time equivalents. We're about half and half, if people want to know. About half of our employees are part-time, and roughly another half are full-time. So you can see we have a few more full-time employees in there. than we have currently, a little less than what we had last year's budget, not significant. And this is kind of what it looks like on the overall summary. This is comparing our projection, where we are, and where we think we'll be for next year. Again, this is where we're starting out the year. We'll keep you updated as we get more information as the year goes along. This is based on a conservative estimate of the information we had when we put this budget together. Everything changes quickly. That's why we have regular meetings and we update you, but this is where we are at this point. This is just breaking down where the money goes. Let's say yesterday, 51% of every dollar that we bring in goes to our employees, either in salaries or in benefits. The other 30% is other things like utilities and materials and supplies and those kind of good things. Debt service is 13% and some of the other things there. That residual number is always one that's a challenge because the airport is very infrastructure heavy and things tend to break and they never seem to be cheap. And this is our cash, kind of pushing it out a little bit further than we had in the financial projection. Again, 1.8% really shows how we tighten our number versus last year, only at 1.8% versus the 2025 days cash on hand, but still significantly higher than when we were, say, in 2021 when we first got out of the pandemic. Any questions? Again, we went through this in detail yesterday, so I think it's a good budget. I think we're comfortable with it. But any questions that anybody has?
Entertain a motion to approve the 2026 operating budget. Motion by Kevin, second by Michael. Okay, open up for discussion. Any questions? And I would encourage everyone, if you didn't have the opportunity to be here for the discussion yesterday, it's on our YouTube channel, so you can catch it there as well. So hearing no questions, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I think about Ann, and I thought I saw Bobby on as well. Okay, next then is approval of the airline rates and charges for 2026. Todd, you're still up.
Yeah, and I just wanted to piggyback on what John said. All the assumptions and everything we talked about in the budget, we talked about last month as well. So you can go back to that as well. A lot of the assumptions are the same, but we discussed it even more in detail yesterday. But again, it's good information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Shane, all right, and we can certainly answer any questions you might have. This is just breaking down our rates. This is just the rates and charges. This is a formalized document. I think we talked about this again yesterday. Rates and charges are supposed to be, in theory, break even, but there is a science to it. Obviously, because of our location, we want to make sure our rates are marketable so that we can attract and maintain our current business and get as more flights as possible. So it is a balance, and these rates kind of reflect that. The signatory rates for folks that do not sign the agreement, they pay 7% more. And on the passenger facility charge, that's just a number. How long has that been around, Ryan? Like since how many centuries ago?
Longer than Ryan.
Yeah, probably older than Ryan. So, but that's something we try to lobby to get that number increased, but that's not something we can do. That's just a standard number. All the other ones are numbers that we develop with our consultants and internally with us to kind of manage our budget and come up with rates that make sense. So this is just formalizing it. Any questions or concerns?
Entertain a motion to approve the airline rates and charges.
So moved.
Motion by Chris, second by Frank. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, lastly, Ryan, you're up for the Airport Capital Improvements Program.
John, if you everybody. Quickly, we went through yesterday. Again, building on the budget that was presented by Todd and was in the numbers is our capital budget for 2026. See Exhibit A broken out by grants that we have. Again, we talked through the different phases, total program cost, our project cost, and then our share. Again, looking about $31.3 million to spend next year, about 4.9 of our share. Again, with the different breakouts, FAA and state. 9 major non-grant projects, again, that we kind of talked through. Again, kind of going through those with committees. Some are in progress. Others are new ones that we're adding. But again, you can see the numbers fall out. Most of the newer ones are design, and then future years, obviously, construction. So kind of went through there. And then again, it's all tied together with the cash flow that you just saw in the budget. The biggest thing that was in here is really the difference between money that we spent this year and then grant receipts next year. So that's a big swing in the cash flow that's accounted for here as well. And then as we talked about, Exhibit B, which is all the departmental projects like equipment, vehicles, smaller but not insignificant projects are grouped together in line 20 for that 2.5 million. So for our share, our cash needed for next year is 12.4 million, which again is built into the cash flow in the overall budget. And then just a little summary on Exhibit B, 30 departmental projects categorized into 5 categories, a few less than last year, but again, not insignificant of what we need to do for some of the projects, again, around the airport system. So that's a quick highlight. Went through in depth yesterday, but happy to answer any questions.
Entertain a motion to approve the airport capital improvement program. Motion by Don, second by Kevin. Any discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Opposed, motion carried. There you go. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Sure, so Ryan will stay to talk to us about the local share account grant application.
Thank you. So again, we presented this yesterday. Later today, once get approval, we're looking to submit a Pennsylvania local share account grant for the parking garage. As part of the application, we need a resolution authorizing Tom Stout and myself to sign documents if we are awarded the grant. The grant is capped at $1 million, so we're obviously looking to get as much as we can from there. And again, once approved, we're looking to submit that later today. Ideally, by the Q2 next year, we'll hear if we're successful or not. So happy to answer any questions on that.
Is that a once and done thing? We can only apply once? Can't apply every year?
It's a good question. Probably once and done, but we can check with that call. I'm not sure, honestly. If this is a once and done application, or can we apply multiple times?
You can apply multiple times, yeah. If you applied previously for another project, you can apply, yeah, you can continue to.
Okay.
Obviously, with an award, limit your chances, right, going in the future. Yeah.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the local share account grant application. John and
Second.
Frank. Okay. Are there any opposed or abstentions? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Dawn. Tom, Director's report.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd reported on traffic, so great numbers to see there for October. Just looking at November so far and seeing sort of where things are trending at this point. Domestically, throughput through checkpoints across the country is down about 2% month to date through November. Here at ABE, we're up 10% on throughput month to date in November. Looking at our scheduled seats for December, we're up about 1.75% scheduled seats over last December, domestically up 1.5%, so pretty similar. Again, always positive at the end of the year, which is nice to see. Since our last regular board meeting, October 28th, just a few follow-up items. We did host a Fill the Bus event to support our federal employees. It was a really successful event supporting TSA, FAA, and even our CBP officers here at ABE. On Thursday, November 6th, we hosted students from the Protective Services program at Babbitt's, the Bethel Mary Vocational Technical School. We had them with our police and fire departments, so it was a great opportunity to get the Babbitt's team over here and the students in those programs. Also on the 6th, we attended the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce annual event. It's a great meeting, Frank, so thank you for doing that.
Giveaway?
Yeah. Absolutely. On the 13th, we celebrated the inaugural flight for Fort Myers aboard Allegiant. So again, some new service announcement, which was nice to see at the end of the year with Allegiant. On the 19th, on Wednesday, we attended the Community Action annual meeting. Well done. That was a great meeting. And so thanks for all you do over there, Dawn. On November 20th, we hosted 20 students from Century Promise School as part of the Allentown School District on a facility tour. So again, doing a lot of outreach to our schools and working with a lot of students to get them behind the scenes here at the airport. In terms of upcoming events, for December, we have our holiday concert series. We're working with Deer of Emmaus and Freedom High Schools. There'll be performances here from their choral groups, so it's always fun to see them working their way through the terminal. It's really, really great. Also, December through January, we have the annual Festival of Trees. You'll see them out in the terminal here. So a lot of the local high schools come in with their teams and make ornaments. They decorate the trees. So that's all done by a lot of the local schools and other local organizations to kind of bring the season into focus here in the terminal. On December 6th, we have our annual Shop with an Airport Cop. So we're working with 19 students from the Catasauqua Area School District that are participating in that event. So always looking forward to our Shop with Cop event. And then December 10th, our staff is visiting Second Harvest Food Bank. So we're going to be over there for the Military Share Pack program. Again, Dawn, thanks for turning the team on to that. So happy to go over there and help. On December 13th, we're doing our North Pole flight. That's being provided by United Airlines. And that'll benefit 15 families with the Pediatric Cancer Foundation of the Lehigh Valley. So looking forward to do that on Saturday morning. And we'll send some information out to the board on that. That's from 8 to 11:30, but we'll follow up with a little info on that for folks that want to attend. December 18th is our 10th anniversary celebration for our COPE program. K-9's offering passengers encouragement. I think we have our charter member, Sherman, is still part of the program here. So
The only original dog left.
the only original one left. So hopefully December 18th, Sherman will make an appearance.
He'll be there.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. And I did want to mention January 6th is our first Fear of Flying seminar for 2026. So that's actually for the first time going to be a morning event. So we're trying some different times of day for people. So typically an evening, we're doing a morning, see how that works as well. The last thing I'll mention is no meetings scheduled for December. So our next scheduled meetings at this point would be January 22nd for committee, the 27th for board, but we're going to move our 27th meeting to 9 a.m. because that happens to be the same day of the Chamber's economic outlook. So we're going to move that around. So with all of that said, Mr. Chair, I'd like to wish everyone a happy holiday. So,
Any questions for Tom? Okay, thank you, Tom.
thank you.
Madam Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things to report this month. We did get an order titling the vehicle that needed the vehicle title. So that's being handled. Also, we're filing a tax appeal for a residential property in Catasauqua that was acquired in May of 2024. Lehigh County did deny the tax immunity on that parcel, and so we're appealing to the Court of Common Pleas, and I'll provide updates as we go there. The reason for the appeal is that the parcel is being used in furtherance of the public purpose, that's the legal term, that it's not generating revenue or being used for a commercial purpose or not related to the airport's use. And then the rest is the usual right to know responses and lease agreements and just, jumping in when staff has a question.
Questions for the solicitor?
Egregious stormwater
Not
tax
yet.
update.
Well, we gotta ask, the election just happened, so now that the election's over, we can see some action on some of those items that
Yeah, likely.
held up.
Frank, it's an egregious stormwater tax.
That's what I
You
said.
have to emphasize tax.
Yeah, I said tax.
Any other questions for Elizabeth? Seeing none, do we have any new business? Madam Solicitor, do we need an executive session? Okay, wish everyone a happy holiday, a nice Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Christmas and Happy New Year, and if you're from my area, beat P-Burg on Thursday. I'll take out a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We are adjourned till January.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Happy holidays, everyone.
My son-in-law